From the 305 to the 303, this is TCSP. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Brian and the Casually Serious Band.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Casually Serious Podcast. I am Bob, and this is a bittersweet day. In one hand, I get to discuss Kiss with one of my best friends ever, Stony Grantham, and we're going to discuss the solo albums up to Creatures of the Night. But this is really going to kind of end our journey, if I'm being honest, at least with the Kiss makeup era. I don't really see us digging into the non-makeup era stuff, if I'm being honest. And that's not like being a snob about that. It's just, man, my greatest memories involve them with makeup, regardless of how they might have, gone backwards or regressed in some way, visually, whatever the case may be. I will always be a die-hard Kiss fan in makeup era, 100%. And I know for a fact our guest is a diehard Kiss fan. It's one of the main things that got us kind of hooked up as friends from the very beginning, man. We're you like the Cowboys and you like Kiss. Well, dude, we're gonna talk for a long time, man. So we got a few albums to dive into. So I'm not gonna get into too much chit chat with myself. I might as well bring someone in. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of my best friends, Stony Grantham. Oh yeah! Sorry, I was really gonna give it a yell. Stony, my friend.
TCSP.
What is up, dude? How you doing?
What's going on, buddy?
I am just relaxing, man. It's getting close to the end of the week, which is cool. I've been a little busy at work, which is all right as well. Like I said earlier, I was hoping it's going to be a little bit busier soon. I know Colorado is going to be getting back to the no mask thing pretty soon, man. How's Texas?
I hope we get busy. It's been a year of not being busy, and I hope to get busy too, musically, figuratively, all the above.
When was the last time you played a show?
February 2020.
Wow. All right.
And
so pretty much a year ago.
So, yeah, I was supporting Stryper in San Antonio, Texas, that is, not the other San Antonio. But
holy shit.
That was the last show I actually literally played, man, with Stryper. And as many people kind of snicker about Stryper, they killed it. They delivered the freaking goods as usual and treated us like gold for a second time. So I got no complaints. It was awesome.
You know what? I think we can have. I can have a Casually Serious podcast episode with you, and just hear some of the stories with the bands that you have played with. That goes for McMaster too, but you especially. I would love to sit down and just pick your brain and listen to the evolution of the gig from you, because I know from your Terra Vast days all the way to now, you've been in a handful of pretty kick-ass bands, and the last couple that you've been in have been fucking really honed and polished, and I'm sure to your liking. So congrats on all that success, man.
Thank you, brother. You've been fortunate. The last 3 or 4 years, I've supported a lot of legends and a lot of people I'm a fanboy of. I've been fans of for a long time. So yeah, that'd be fun to do, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of stories, man. So anyway, let's get into it, man. This is obviously Kiss. This is a band that, if anyone has a band now or has had a band in the last 20 years, they had something to do with it. There was a reason for you plugging in an amp, buying a drum kit, deciding to scream at the top of your lungs. It had something to do with these guys.
Or a Les Paul copy or whatever. Yeah.
That's funny.
This would be volume 3 if we're counting. The first volume 1 consisting of the first 3 studio albums and a live. And then we moved into volume 2, the second podcast, which was obviously a Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, and a live 2. And here we are on the third 3.0, shall we say, and running maybe the solo records through Creatures of the Night. Yeah,
that's exactly what we're gonna do, man. Yeah, including double platinum. Now including double platinum. Which, by the way, when double platinum was right after the solo albums, wasn't it?
That was also late '78. I want to say. Anybody chiming in want to correct me? That's fine because I could be wrong, but I think it's '78 as well.
Okay, so we'll just, for the sake of fluidity in the show today, we'll just pop it up after the solo albums, which we might as well jump right into right now. Do you have anything you wanted to say before we started talking about Kiss, man? Any new projects popping up, or is it just relaxation time out in the ATX?
No, we're starting to gear up. I think my video is frozen, but can you still hear me?
I can.
We are gearing. We, by meaning Bifist from San Antonio, Texas, are gearing up for a show in August in Dallas with maybe so far Ripper Owens, Cage from San Diego, Sunless Sky from Cleveland, and a host of others. I think they still have yet to name a headliner. But
God dang it. I was in fear of that, but that's okay. With the magic of editing, maybe sometime down the road, I'll be able to chop this part out. But damn it. Stony was in the middle of a great story right there. I know it. Damn it. Andrew Pace, what is going on, my friend? It's always good to see you. Thank you for coming out and hanging out. Anybody else who's in the audience right now, I see about 5 or 6 folks coming out. Say hello in the comments section. Don't be bashful wherever you are watching from, be it Facebook or YouTube. And thanks as always for the support. Thank you for everybody for subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's only been up for a little bit right now, and it's got very, very minimum activity on it, other than the last few podcasts that have popped up, including these, obviously. So if you get a second, and I'm going to go ahead and drop this crazy link into the comment. If anybody out there has a YouTube channel or doesn't have a YouTube channel, just go ahead and create one. It's super easy. And follow that link that I just posted down there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be awesome. Looks like we've still got a little bit of technical difficulties on Stony's end. So I'm just going to kill some time right now by singing an old Dutch children's song. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the hell that is. It makes no sense. Andrew, I appreciate that, man. Support. You want to talk about supporting? I remember when you were one of the first people to pitch in for my Xbox 360 to pull me away from PlayStation so we could play Call of Duty back in the day. I've been playing video games with you since 2005, I think. One of my best friends, too, and somebody I've never met in real life. It's just crazy how those kinds of friendships can happen nowadays. But I appreciate it, Andrew. And much love back to you, man. And I just don't want to get any further into any of this broadcast until Stony pops back up. So if anybody has any questions or comments, pop it up in that feed. We're going to keep trying until we get them back in. Stony.
My apologies. I still have a rat chewing on my cords or something down here.
You need to go. You got to go down there and you put a raccoon down there. Raccoons terrify rats. And I mean, you might have a raccoon problem after that, but it's better than a rat wire problem.
That's true. Where did we? How far into the Bifist summer did I get to?
You didn't get any further than the name and word Bifist before you froze up.
Well, I was saying, sorry for the confusion here, but we're supposed to do a show in Dallas in this August with Ripper Owens and Cage from San Diego, Sunless Sky from Cleveland, and as yet unnamed headliner. So things
Ripper
are really
Owens
cool.
was famous for the movie Rockstar, right?
Not just that, but well, he wasn't in it.
I know. I've actually heard so many people just reduce his career to that, and it's like it's not really just that.
But he's not in it or mentioned at all, anyways.
Right.
So we'll settle on Judas Priest with Ripper Owens instead. You know.
Yes. So, like I said before, and again, I might have some connective issues right now. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. We can get through this, man. And editing is going to probably be a big part of this at some point. Maybe not. But let's see. My connection is a little stable. It doesn't matter.
Well, if I disappear, I'll be back in 40 seconds or so, like I am.
Right on. Yeah, don't even worry about that, man.
My apologies.
So anyway, let's get this started, man. I'm going to go ahead and introduce one of the albums that when I knew it was coming out, I don't know if I had been any more excited in my entire life for an album that was about to come out. And then once it did come out, I had a different feeling about it altogether. So let's let it introduce itself. So for the sake of time tonight, we're going to cut those real short. But at any rate, the intro that you just heard was the very, very beginning of that album, the beginning of Radioactive. And it sounded terrifying. It sounded awesome. It sounded like straight up Exorcist, like what the fuck is about to happen? And then it just sort of goes into a Gene Simmons song.
Exactly.
And I don't know that it's a horrible Gene Simmons song. I like it. If to me, it's the highlight of that album. But unfortunately, it's the first song on the album and the last song that I probably had ever listened to on that album. What about you, Stony? Do you have anything good to say about it, man?
Well, here's what I have to say. Bob, you're 100% correct. I was excited as fuck when that was coming out. I think the intro scared everybody that was 13 or 14 years old, including myself.
Yes.
It sounds super satanic. It's all like The Omen and Rosemary's Baby. Yeah.
What is he saying?
When I first heard that, it set the mood, and I was like, fuck yeah, here we go. This is going to be a dark, heavy, evil record from Dr. Love, right? And so he tears into Radioactive, correct? From that
You're
opening.
my food, you're my water, you've got to be the devil's daughter.
Exactly. And okay, it's not heavy. It's not a heavy song, but it's a good rock and roll song. It's very Kiss-like.
Yes.
Well sang. It's got hooks. And had he wrote a few more like that and a handful of dark, disturbing things like, your God of Thunders or your Almost Humans, I believe it would have been, a close second to Mr. Fraley's solo album. And it would have been what people were expecting from Gene Simmons. However, with that being said, I'm sure you were about to say the same thing probably. After Radioactive, things seem to just go south in a hurry and continue going south. And to me, it was, even at that age, even at 14 or 13, probably 13 or 12, whenever I heard it, big time disappointment, in my opinion. What he could have had, or could have done. What do you think about that?
I think what's funny is that, hold on, I just got a pretty crazy text here real quick. I think we know this later on, and we didn't know this back then because we were obviously younger, but we know now after hearing stories that he kind of decided that with this album, he was going to go against what most people expected him to do for a solo album. And I think this is one of those times in life where going against a stereotype or an expectation went against him. They might have done that for a few different albums in life. We might be discussing one, if I'm being honest, pretty soon. They've done some experimental things with albums that have somewhat paid off in some way. But
Sure.
again, we know that Gene said this is something that he wanted to make sure that when someone bought it and listened to it, it was nothing at all like what they expected. And that's what kicked me in the nuts. And you really, at any point in time, you could have had me holding on to something and finding some way to defend it to the people in school, because obviously this is listened. I heard this much later on, 81, 82. Had you not gotten to When You Wish Upon a Star,
Right.
and we all, everyone in the world can give me all the answers why that song made it on that, and I just don't give a shit why.
Right.
It just was sort of like the end. It was just like, and then how about this, Bob? It
was like the whole album's been rolling downhill for the last 35 minutes, and we'll cap it with something even worse. It's not really rock and roll, that's for sure. Like you said, maybe he was thinking about, I'm going to give everybody what they don't expect. But the guy had been cultivating the demon personality for 5 years. Why would you want to give the fans what they want? I guess it's easy to say in hindsight, right? Obviously.
Well, he started the album off with those expectations. It's almost like he was like, all right, here's the deal. We're going to play this real super satanic evil thing. And then he went away from the microphone. And then somewhere he had a dinner with somebody. And they were like, dude, whenever you can close that shit up with a Disney tune, wouldn't that be fucking awesome? And he was like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. And then,
hey, he was probably having dinner with Cher and Katie Seagal, dude.
Oh my God, yes, yes. Did they sang back up on the solo? But did they sing back up on any other albums for Kiss?
I think just his solo album. Unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong. But
I've heard some ladies singing background, at least on Dynasty. Obviously, we know how we talked last week about how that was such an operatic album, and to hear that there were vocals added to it, background vocals by people we might not ever hear of. It's not really too surprising, but they had some females.
True. I know it was Katie Seagal and maybe Cher and a few other girls and boys, actually, and guys singing backup. There's a lot of musicians on that record. And here's why I have another problem with a Gene Simmons album is Gene didn't play any bass hardly at all, if at all, on his own solo record. And if he downright was a terrible bass player, okay, I'll get it, but Gene's not that bad of a bass player. He's unique and underrated, in my opinion. So I want to hear Gene play bass on his own solo album, just like Ace Frehley did on his. He played lead guitar and rhythm guitars on his own solo album. That's like not singing on your own solo album, almost.
Yeah. Did you know that back then, as whether you were starting playing bass or not? Did you know back when you first heard this album that Gene was not playing bass on it?
No, not at all. I just found out, after the decades later, perhaps. But it's still a grand disappointment when you find out that Santa Claus isn't real in all aspects. But I don't know. Are there any other songs you actually like on it besides?
Well, I tell you, like I gotta say, "Burn It Up with Fever" is not horrible. And the reason why I know that song is because I was desperately waiting for the rest of the album to be better than Radioactive. And sometime after that, I was like, you know what? No. And I went back and gave it some other chances, but no, there's nothing else I can pull. And I know there's deep cuts, Man of 1,000. I hear Mr. Make Believe. I hear
maybe what do you think about Man of 1,000 Faces or whatever? But
it's all very.
I couldn't recite you two sentences, two sets of lyrics from that record. If my head, you know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and introduce an album that I could not tell you one lyric or one note from. So let's get into that. Little teasers right there, man. Had nothing to do with the album, obviously, but
of course not. It was great, nevertheless.
So this is Paulie's album. Sorry, my bad. And I've heard great things from it, about it from hardcore fans.
Yeah, maybe we should back up a bit about why are there 4 solo albums coming out at once from the members of KISS. First of all, sorry to go kind of retrograde on you there, but
let's do it, man. Let's do it. If for anybody who's watching that doesn't know the history of all this stuff, it's definitely something that we should let them know.
Yeah, we're assuming everybody are huge KISS freaks like ourselves, right?
Right.
KISS were having a lot of problems after or during and after the Love Gun tour, and probably before that. Ace and Peter weren't happy. Gene and Paul were not happy with them. And the group is splintering and about to fall apart, correct?
100%.
And so label / management / advisors, hangers on, whatever you want to allude to, suggested to placate basically Ace Frehley and Peter Criss and keep the band cohesive and working. How about solo records so you can express yourselves artistically?
Good job, Gene.
So that's in a nutshell. They all said, great, sounds like a great idea. We get time apart from each other and make essentially 4 KISS records in 1 year, you know.
Yeah.
However, it sounded, I guess, what would you say, Bob? Sounds good on paper, right?
Yeah, and I know that they pressed an ass load of these records, which is why whenever you went to a record store and you would see stacks and stacks of these and thinking that they were not selling, when in fact they were massively selling.
Sure.
They just were so many pressed that you had to buy like probably a case or 10 cases or some shit at a time of these records because they printed so many of them. But I think it was a decent idea, but I think with KISS might be the only band that could get away with that, because if you have a band that's only 4 people and you give all 4 people the freedom to record their own album, and one of those 4 has success, and that's kind of what happened here, it's just going to make that person not want to go back into that band, at least not into that, and maybe with renegotiations in mind or something like that. Yes, but anything that they would have said that made that got them to the point where they said, I can make my own album. And if there was a success attached to that, man, that's going to splinter a band. That person's going to be gone probably.
That's true. Or at the very least, lull them into a false security of, hey, I got this big wave I'm riding and I can continue to ride it into the sunset. Whether that was true or not, who knows? But again, like you said, it didn't really help the situation. It kind of drove more wedges in the band as far as whereas Ace Frehley is concerned than it did before, than was there before.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, sorry, I think Gene pretty much did his on his own and had friends and some people help him. And I think Paul did the same thing. But I think Ace and Peter were involved in each other's solo albums in some way, or at the very least, I think Peter was involved in the recording process of Ace's or something. But it was clear right away.
I never heard that. I'm learning something new, I guess. But as far as Paul's, was probably the closest sounding to an actual KISS record than any of the other 3. Was it good? Maybe half of it. Maybe it's good. I'm not. I'm just speaking in general terms.
Right.
From what the rest of the world had to say and still continues to have to say about it to this day. I guess well, it does sound. What do you think about the Paul Stanley, solo album?
I can't give you a lyric or a riff from it. I might have heard it a few times, and here's the real main reason, because we had every freaking Kiss album, but it was like this. Okay, here's the deal, dude. My favorite band member of Kiss is Gene Simmons. Period. End of story. My second is Ace's, because I think that was my brother's favorite band member, and he got me into the band. So Ace and Gene were my favorite. Paul and Peter, they were awesome, but so this is the deal. When I heard Radioactive, when I heard Gene's album, I was like, "Fuck, this sucks." That's it. I'm not even going to listen to the other three. So I didn't listen until I circled back and decided to pop on Ace Frehley's album, and then I was like, I heard it, and I was like, "This is good." And then I just never explored Paul or Peter's ever again. So I can't tell you anything about this record whatsoever.
Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of, Bob, because I'm exactly the same. And so I guess, does that mean we're real Kiss freaks? Because that's a lot of Kiss freaks from the original, from the 70s are exactly like that. They don't sit around spinning the 78 solo albums other than Ace Frehley's. And when I finally got around to Ace Frehley's, I thought, not just, hey, this is a great Kiss record, but this is a great fucking record. And it rocks. It's consistent. It's got hooks. The songwriting is good. Ace Frehley knocked it out of the park out of the four of them,
I tell you, I think that's kind of the reason why, and we'll get into this, obviously, the next album that they do in the studio, Ace is heavily involved in. And he's involved in it in some pretty awesome ways, but
the one after that as well.
I mean, yeah, and Paul, as we were saying, Paul's solo album. I keep jumping over him. Well, I don't know any of these songs. I don't know any of them.
I got to put my cheaters on for a second, but
Take Me Away, Together as One. And again, so here's the deal. So obviously Paul was the star child, the lover of the band, and that wasn't my gig. So I knew that this would be a bunch of love stuff, and it probably is, and I don't know because I have never heard it.
I think Tonight You Belong to Me and Wouldn't You Like to Know Me did well compared to all the other tracks on the record, and compared to like the Peter Criss album and the Gene album. I think those songs kind of made a wave, a ripple in the pond, but nowhere near what Aces did.
Yeah.
Peter delivers a straight up R&B, kind of like the Platters or the Supremes, kind of a strange kind of a little rocking in there, but it's R&B, and it's okay. It might be Peter Criss ish, but it's so far from what Kiss was. I think it was really a disappointment to Kiss fans. I have never really revisited it. Sorry to say. So I'm like
angry.
I really can't say anything more about the Peter Criss 78 solo album than I don't listen to it. I really don't plan to too much, and it's an R&B record basically. That's really all I can say about it.
Well, the deal is TCSP paid the zit-faced little Red Bull chugging monster kid that sits in the basement and makes all these clips. So we're gonna at least show the Peter Criss clip. Show it. Is that really the best you could? All right. And let's go ahead and get some of these song titles that we'll never ever talk about again. I'm Gonna Love You, You Matter to Me, Tossing and Turning, Don't You Let Me Down. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. Easy Thing, Rock Me Baby, Kiss the Girl Goodbye, Hooked on Rock and Roll, I Can't Stop the Rain, which I Can't Stop the Rain is actually one. I feel like I know that song for some reason, but I don't know that song.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Creedence Clearwater?
No. I'm not. I know. I feel like that's something that if anybody dude, Peter Criss's album didn't suck. You can't stop the rain or something. I just feel like I've heard that sentence, and you know how my memory is that good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just figured that we'd throw that in there. But
Well,
Peter, I don't have anything to say about Peter's because I didn't listen to Peter's. It's in mint condition in my house in Miami.
Point taken. I don't think we're saying Peter's solo album sucks or Gene's sucks or Paul's, but let's just say they're a long ways from Love Gun.
Yes.
And they're a long ways, I hate to say this, from Ace Frehley's solo album.
Yeah, because even if you don't consider Ace's solo album to be a good Kiss record, it's still a really friggin' good album.
Yeah. It
Like
stands alone. Standing alone, it's a good record. It could have just been, he could have been a one-hit wonder had there never been a Kiss, and we might still be sitting here going, "Hey, remember that Ace Frehley record from the '70s? Pretty good, you know, not a bad record." That's how good it is. So we might as well just jump ahead because I know a lot more about that record. I still listen to it occasionally, all these years later. A lot of people I know do, including yourself probably, but it's chock full of good songs, good songwriting, catchy melodies, hooks, good guitar playing by Ace Frehley himself.
Okay.
You know, what's
all right, well, Ace Frehley. I like what you did there. That was smart. I like that. A little bit of the cut from Kiss Alive 2 and then the cheers, because everyone knows this is the album everybody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to listen to this album, and everybody did listen to this album, obviously, because it definitely sold better than any of them. And let's get into the songs. I'll go ahead and list them off real quick. Rip It Out, which if we're going to start off with a song, that's the one to do it with. It's a really cool, kicking, thumping song. Speeding Back to My Baby is another groovy tune. Snowblind, awesome, abso-freaking-lutely awesome. Ozone, What's on Your Mind, New York Groove, we know it. I'm in Need of Love, Wiped Out, Fractured Mirror. This is, and what's funny about this story is, so here's the deal. They all go, "Oh, you know what? I tell you what, Gene," and this is probably, or I tell you what, this is my Gene voice. I tell you what, Ace, if you think you're a badass, go make your fucking record, dude. I'm gonna go When You Wish Upon a Star on your ass. So they all decide to go their different ways, and they make their solo albums however they want to make it at the time. I guess Peter was completely coked out of his mind. Paul might have just been like drunk and like, "We're gonna do this anyway, fuck it." And Gene was just being experimental. But Ace was the one guy, for as unreliable as Gene and Paul would have us believe, actually came through, buckled down, hunkered down, and produced and put together a fucking great album. And Rip It Out has made it, as a drummer, has made it onto my practice song list for years, for 25, 30 years. Since I started playing drums, I love that song. And it's not a heavy drum song, but it's just such a good song.
You're right. It's not even a heavy. Well, it's not a heavy album per se. I mean, it's not Master of Reality from Black Sabbath, you know, but it's a rockin' fucking record
with a great chorus.
Well, the whole record. I'm saying, a lot of good songs, man. Even if it's 8 out of 10 are great songs or good songs, that's 8 out of 10. That's a pretty strong record. I really can't say enough about it. It's like you said, Rip It Out, dude. Fractured Mirror, New York Groove. Oh, and it produced a freaking top 10 hit for Kiss.
Yeah, with New York Groove.
Yeah, and
which is crazy.
Got a lot of radio play, man, airplay on that, and that's the only song from all 4 solo albums to achieve that. So
I remember going through the album and hearing it the first time and going, "Holy shit, man! This is what they were afraid of." And again, this is because I don't know anything about Kiss in the story. This is the reason why they hate Ace. Ace is the fucking best guy in the fucking whole entire band. Of course they hate him, you know. And so this is what I'm thinking. But when I went back and listened to it again, I heard Snowblind again for the second or third time, and big headphones, kind of like I'm rocking right now. I just with the going on in the background of that song, the snow blowing kind of. it sounded like it's just such an epitome Ace Frehley song, especially the way it starts slowing down at the end. Like it just reminded me of like him kind of falling apart on stage like that, because that's just we know Ace to be that guy who's always knock-kneed, falling and stumbling on stage, and he's the one that I said out of all the people that I love in this band, you know, all four of them, Gene being the biggest guy that I love the most. Ace came out of fucking left field and knocked it out of the park, dude, and just floored me. It was almost like then I had to go back and listen to Ace songs closer, because I feel like I was like I just looked over him for some reason, because I was like, ooh yeah, I just loved his Gene's bebop shit that he was feeding me all the time.
Oh, of course. When you say that about going back and listening to more Ace songs, fucking Rocket Ride could have easily been on his solo record, you know, and fit in no problem.
Yeah. Which would have been like a nail in the coffin for at that time, dude.
And like you said before, the manager would be like, "Say, kid, you don't need this. You don't need these other guys.
Bring the spaceman to my limo. We're gonna have a talk.
You only have to wear one boot with me. See, producing the hits. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know, we're not telling you as far as KISS fans go, and you, we're not telling anybody anything that you know they don't already know, unless you're watching this 3.0 part of the KISS podcast here and don't know much about KISS. Then okay, you know, there's something to be away from this. To this, like I said again, to this day, if I want to listen to any of them, it's going to be the Frehley one. No disrespect to the other three guys, you know.
No disrespect. No disrespect.
What are you saying over here?
So let's put you on the spot here. Since we say it's the best solo album, we know it is.
Yeah.
Your favorite song?
Damn. Well, again.
And I don't mean maybe.
Let me look at my peeper cheaters here, and probably, you know, this might surprise you. Fractured Mirror.
Yeah.
That is the instrumental, correct?
Yes.
The acoustic-based instrumental, Fractured Mirror, and probably Rip It Out / Snowblind.
Take My Heart. And what I loved about Ace Frehley, and we did when we did the Casually Serious podcast on Tuesday, Kenny and I were talking about 70s sitcoms. And the reason why Kenny and I particularly love 70s sitcoms is because it was all like I was born in a family. I was the only one of my family not born in New York. So I grew up in like an East Coast household in Miami, and I just love that whole New York mentality. And I just love the fact that Ace never polished any of his accent through his singing or anything like that, because you know Paul obviously did. Most singers do. You don't really know that they're from New York or, you know, this city or that state or whatever the case may be. But Ace never hid his Northeast accent, and that's what I loved about it. And it sounded fucking awesome. It just sounded like a guy, you know, like, oh, that fucking Ace guy down the street's playing some shit in his garage right now. You got to hear it, man. You know, like,
absolutely,
it's so awesome.
You're correct, dude. Actually, Paul tried to hide it. I don't know if he was completely successful. I could hear a little bit in his singing, but a lot in his stage banter. But next to Ace, dude, Ace was just totally not capable of erasing his Brooklyn accent or whatever. Or no, Bronx accent.
Yes.
That was never going to happen. I love that about him as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm gonna take Rip It Out on that one. Rip It Out and Snowblind are my two favorite songs on that album, and
absolutely.
You know, so you know, they went on their merry little way, and we agreed that Double Platinum came out at this same year, but obviously after, or do you think it came out before the solo albums?
Can I stop you for 1 second, Bob?
Yes.
One last thing that Fractured Mirror instrumental, Frehley album. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but the intro to Rock Bottom, is very, to me, my opinion only, very, very similar piece of work.
You think it's you think it's something that was a part of it, or something he riffed off of?
I don't know. I think that's why I think that Paul had a lot of input by Ace on that intro to Rock Bottom at the time, because it sounds really similar in style and composition to Fractured Mirror. And I guess that's part of the reason I really like it so much too. It's a lovely, a beautiful piece of, again, a beautiful piece of music delivered days that you don't really expect. No.
And if there was ever a point in time that Paul and Gene were going to give Ace all of the credit he deserved for songwriting, riffs, all that shit, we would have known about it, because it's certainly not going to happen now. They have, it's almost, they're falling on their swords when they're talking about, Ace and shit, because the second time around that reunion tour should have been the greatest thing in the world, a resurrection for everyone. And the problem is I think Gene and Paul went into it as a business, and Ace and Peter went into it thinking it's not a business. We're going to still do what we did last time, and we're still going to get an even cut out of all of this. And it just didn't work that way. And once they found out what each other was making, it just went to shit. But I don't know. It's crazy. That was a long time that went between when they were playing with each other. So it was extenuating circumstances. But they were doomed.
And what you were referring to happened in 96.
Yeah.
We're way ahead of ourselves on this, but
yeah, I'm just saying though, it's very, right. It's just crazy.
Leopards don't change, right?
Yeah.
And got more of the same, but I think it was a good year. It got it got progressively worse after that, like usual.
It sure as hell did, dude.
I'm sorry. Anyway, you were jumping into the natural flow of things, double platinum.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig real deep on the math on this one. So let's
you're looking up
Creatures of the Night. Double Platinum was released April 2nd, 1978, and these solo albums were released in September. So here we go with KISS trying to find a way to release about as many albums as friggin' possible. However, they have to package them within one calendar year.
Can you repeat those dates if you still have them up?
I sure could, man. So Double Platinum was released April 2nd, 1978.
Okay.
And the solo albums are September 18th, 1978.
Wow. For some reason, call it a mental block or whatever, I always had thought that the solo albums were released before Double Platinum, and that KISS had released Double Platinum to try to win back some of that thunder and fire that they may have lost during the solo records. I had no idea it was the opposite.
That is kind of nuts, man. And I think
they were kind of on a roll with Double Platinum then at the time as well.
Yeah, and if you think about how, and I'm gonna pull up a picture here in a second. It's probably not; these probably aren't the greatest pictures in the world. Let's see what we can get. But the reason why what you're saying is true is if I'm not mistaken, the pictures that they use is inside the Double Platinum album, which obviously it's a mirrored album. So, if I'm not mistaken, are those the ones that they used on their solo albums?
I don't believe so, dude. Paul's has like a dozen roses off in the corner on the Double Platinum picture. I think they're really close. I think they're a lot like them, but I don't think they are the same. No, I don't believe so. You see the roses on?
Yeah, you're right.
Ace's hair is different. They're similar in nature to them, but that's cool as fuck right there, though.
And again, there's all sorts of childhood memories I have of this. Obviously, putting a piece of paper on top of it and getting a pencil and then right, and then being able to take that and then draw it straight. It's one of the reasons why, like, all the time as a kid, when I would put shampoo or soap on my face, dude, I was able to draw Gene's things all the time, dude.
Shampoo, that's fucking awesome.
You get the white base.
Thought about doing that. I wanted to. I'm sorry, I keep going back to the
That's all right, dude.
One thing about the solo records as well. Had the actual records, aside from Fraley's, been as good as the cover art on all of them, we would have been left with some really, really outstanding solo records, because the covers on those things are flawless and fucking kick ass, dude.
Well, I think honestly, if I'm being, and I'm not being judgy about this, but I think that really could be said about all of their albums. Especially ones like Love Gun and Destroyer that are very comic book and very much the way, most albums and record covers were at the time. But you're right. Look at this. I mean,
yeah,
that's sick.
I'm asking because I do not know who painted these. I wonder.
Yeah, that's a good point, because these obviously aren't portraits, so there could be doctored in some way. But really, and Peter's is so beautiful, that green, and I do love how they incorporated their own sort of colors into all of this. And I often joke, like, why couldn't Paul go with red? Well, because Gene took it.
Yeah.
But purple was definitely more of the glamour thing. Hence why I have it in the background right here, because we are definitely entering a glamorous portion of Kiss and their records. But we were talking about, yeah, because I don't think, let's go ahead and look at that. See, Peter's is quite similar.
A bit, yeah, except look at his bangs, where his on the double platinum area.
Yeah, and again, we can go with the doctoring of any of this, but Ace just kind of have a slack jaw on that one, which is a little different. It's actually quite weird.
I know they're not the same pictures, but they're similar, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I doubt if the same artist did them, but
and there's only so many different poses you can put their faces in and get the full coverage of their makeup, which is what you want. You don't want to half their makeup or anything like that. But
right.
What do you have to say about double platinum?
I have to say it's one of the records I owned when I was 12 years old, and listened to it constantly, as much as Alive and Alive 2. Eventually, within a couple of years, you could find double platinum on my turntable as much as often as Alive or Alive 2, dude. I wore it out, and to this day, I really think that double platinum is an awesome. What would you call that? It's not a greatest hits.
It is, though, isn't it? Because
it is, I guess, but there weren't really hits to begin with. Compilation. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
It's a killer compilation. It really isn't lacking anything. I mean, okay, if you could probably nitpick and find a couple of songs that aren't on there, but by and large, great compilation, and can't go wrong, man.
Produced by Sean Delaney.
Yeah, and it's got songs from the first through Love Gun.
So do you recall the difference between the original Strutter and Strutter 78?
There's a...
I'm not testing you. I want to know.
Yeah, you can hear a kind of like a tambourine / shaker.
Okay.
Kind of more shaky. When I say shaker, sounds like those Mexican or Spanish style shakers that have like sand in them. You can hear that through the whole track, which is obviously not on the original.
Okay.
And the original, the chorus you'd yell Strutter, and that was it once, and then the rest of the chorus was instrumental.
Right.
Also on Strutter 78, besides the salt shakers, is they continue to sing Strutter throughout the chorus. Solo might be a bit doubled, or maybe a little more in the front, or have a little more substance as far as the EQ, or as far as the sound of it goes. I really like Strutter 78 just because
I feel like now I do. Well, because at some point I said to myself, what was the difference? You just explained it. And so that leads me to believe from that point forward, Strutter 78 was all I listened to for Strutter. For my Strutter needs,
Right.
I went to double platinum. I did not go to the first album for this.
I have to agree with you. If I did go somewhere else, it was the Strutter on a live, basically.
Right.
So I've heard it be knocked by, hardcore Kiss fans in the past, but I think that's just nitpicking, dude. And I think it's it's not groundbreaking different, but it's kind of a cool redo, I think.
Right.
It gives you a little bit of a different feel and stuff. And I really like the Strutter 78. I like both of them, Not going to diss either one of them, really.
Well, let's see. I was going to try and pull something up, and let's see. God, I don't want. You know what? Fuck it, man. Who cares? Let's take a look. The audio might not be beautiful either, but here we go. There's only a few viewers anyway.
Including us, right?
Giving unprecedented in music history, here's Neil Bogart.
For the success story of the decade, Casablanca honors Kiss with double platinum. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter
Cool.
and Ace Frehley.
20 double platinum songs remixed and brand new Strutter 78 Kiss double platinum.
It's interesting. I don't remember. Awesome. I don't remember it being touted as remixed, which is pretty crazy. Like updated, like there was probably some technological leaps for a lot of the production. But really, what they're saying is we went back and fucking made them sound the way we wanted them to originally to sound.
Well, we can assume that, but I think there is beyond Strutter 78, there was some tinkering done with the whole record, and I got no complaints, man. I think it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Whether it's not, like I said, it's not a 100,000-year leap, to use a pun.
Right. Very nice.
But it's a really good record, especially for 1978. It's still, to me, it still stands up to this day.
I like the idea. It gives us what it did was it gave us the ability to have a record that we could play that wasn't the actual albums. So we didn't fucking scratch them. We didn't play them. We could take care. We can keep them in a library or volume or whatever we're going to do and have double platinum to play the songs. If we want to go back to deep cuts, we can pull those records out, but we wouldn't have dug a groove in 100,000 years or dug a groove in Strutter on any of their albums or anything like that, because we had a greatest hits album, if you will, or a compilation album, as you were saying, Stony.
Well, one other thing too, a lot of us weren't in the position you found yourself in. That was also a really good collection of songs for those of us that had just Kiss Alive and Alive 2.
Right.
And we didn't listen to or own either own or listen to very often at other people's houses the first 3 albums, or like I had Destroyer as well, but it's hard to afford the entire discography when you're 11 and 12 years old. So double platinum really filled in the blanks, so to speak. For me.
Yeah, and so we're talking at this point right now, 1978. I am currently 5. Okay. So we're talking about way after. We're gonna get to one album later on, which we're already 50 minutes in. We haven't even started with a studio album with them all on it yet. But who gives a shit? There's one of these albums where I did feel like there was kind of a leap going on, but some of those progressions can't come without sort of falling on your face, and
that's true.
I think that's kind of what we're gonna.
11 years old when double platinum and the solo albums came out. Slightly older than you, but not very old.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, but it is. You're getting into those formative years where you're already like fucking metal and comic books and demon and Like I had already gone. I had to get a little older, which is
Sure.
way later to
Right.
to go back and experience it, which is odd. I speak about these albums as if I experienced them when they came out, and that's not the case.
Well,
And that's why I think people who are Kiss fans that know me, they're like, dude, you know a lot more than you should for
yeah.
someone who's just a Kiss fan from that, which is later, I grew up after their peak.
I have to give you that same amount of credit, man, because okay, so I was 11 in '78. You're right. I was really waking up and starting to pay a lot of attention, and I was into like 3 or 4 Kiss records when I was 11. So
Yeah.
but for you to be 5 years old or whatever when in '78, that says a lot about you're a little different, maybe. Okay, owing to your old brothers or whatever, but
Yeah,
you are a bit different from other guys, cats your age.
for
Probably
sure.
very few of them know as much about Kiss as you do, that are the same age as you.
It's one of the reasons I know my friend Jay. Anybody who travels, if they find something that has to do with Kiss, they usually just buy it for me.
Nice.
And then they'd be like, dude, I got you on something on the road. Like I'm going to segue here into something different, but I never got a program from a Live Worldwide, and he found one on the road at a record store, and he got it for me. So this little time, he's able to fill in the blanks on a lot of the crazy shit. But yeah, I'm definitely the guy that everyone knows that like, yeah, he's really into Kiss.
You're the Kiss freak in the group. Huh? Yeah.
But as I said before, in order for you to find a peak, which I felt like at this point they had already reached, in order for you to go up, you have to kind of get down. And I think Coolio gave us that information in the late 90s. But you have to.
Or Lemmy from Motor. Don't get up. Get down instead.
Down instead. All right, so let's jump into it, and let's get a studio album that supposedly all 4 were involved in.
Other song choice.
Oh, boy. a little bit of 1970s kick in the nuts, because this album, even going back and listening to it again today with 47-year-old ears, did not do anything for me. If anything, I can only sort of equate it to kind of like the Metallica Black Album, where I don't know, maybe they were trying to do something and they just couldn't quite hit it.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you on that. At the time, I don't know whether you're just overlooking it all because you heard I Was Made for Loving You and whatever at that age. You were looking for more Calling Dr. Love at the time, probably.
There's one song that I pull off of this that I absolutely fucking love, and that is Hard Times.
Well, you're moving in my direction without even knowing. So I was going to say miniature tirade here. Everybody and their mother, everybody around the world, most Kiss fans. Granted, there's a lot of us Kiss fans that like or love this album. Okay, as everyone knows, Dynasty is called it's Kiss's fucking disco record. Okay, yes, there's a disco song, which was a gigantic worldwide hit around the world, a global hit called "I Was Made for Loving You." Right? It's disco-y. Like again, though, major hit, worldwide hit. However, there's tons of rocking songs on this album, dude. Like you said, Hard Times. That could be on Ace Frehley's solo album or on Destroyer.
Oh my God, that's what I mean. I think a lot of what's going on this album, and like you said, the next album, is them saying, "Holy shit, what did Ace just do on that solo album of his?"
Yeah,
and we are probably stupid.
And can we have some more, please?
Can we have some? Yeah. Why were we so freaking stubborn and saying to ourselves, this guy's an asshole, we're not putting any of his records as songs on the albums? They definitely at this point gave him a couple, and he delivered on them. And I think Hard Times is one of those, man. It's a great song.
Let's be honest. I'm not sure how often Gene and Paul, even at this point, would question themselves. but this was probably Vinny Poncia saying, "Hey guys, we probably need a couple of cool tracks from Ace Frehley. You know, look at his streak that he has going, right?"
Yeah.
But not just Hard Times, as we just mentioned, but his cover of 2000 Man by the Rolling Stones is pretty fucking cool. I think it's very Ace Frehley-ish. That's for sure. May not be a great Kiss song or a great, you know, hard rocker, but it's Ace through and through, and it's kind of cool. I think, you know.
I really like the. I'm going to agree with you on that.
Brakes are flashing like they did when we were young.
Yeah.
Did they come down crashing? You know, that shit. Pure and simple Ace, really cool stuff. Sure Know Something is, again, it's not a Deuce, or it's not fucking, you know, it's not heavy, but Sure Know Something is a competently written rock and roll song, dude.
It's a Kiss. It's a definitive Kiss song. You're right. When I hear it, I you know, and it's just this. There's a lot of Kiss songs that we can listen to as fans and say, this sounds like it could have been on this album because it's this. And again, it's because what's amazing about that is this band has a sound, and you find it throughout all of their albums. A lot of bands go through these different sounds and mutations of their sound, but Kiss is fucking Kiss, because Kiss comes from a very basic love, which is Beatles-esque rock and roll, you know, swinging. You know, like it's basic stuff, but they built on it over decades, and you know, and sort of crafted their own art. So of course, a lot of their stuff sounds similar and derivative of other songs, because it is that, you know, they probably, like you said, at some point were taking riffs from themselves earlier and going, oh shit, I can do something with this now. I'm more intelligent as a musician.
Yeah, I mean they're probably closer to Journey, except less sophisticated than they are Black Sabbath. You know, I mean overall, yeah. They have some really early, heavy sounding stuff. Yeah. And that's why we also love them. But they're capable of that, you know, kind of hook, Latin, pop, almost pop, kind of hard rock, foreigner, if you will. With, I guess, again, less sophisticated, probably songwriting wise. But there it is. You know, they have Sure Know Something's a really good song, period. And
let's take a look at this this clip real fast. He's trying to sell it. Oh my God. It's so electric, and again, it might not have. There's a couple songs on there that are disco-y. It's very, if you listen to the drum beats are very disco. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
And they got what they wanted with that song in particular, which was a freaking mega hit, which is still played at bagel shops and gas stations as of like 2 weeks ago in my life. It's insane. And again, so you can make fun of it, but you, at the end of the day, you kind of still have to say, well, shit, they still did their thing. And what they do sometimes, America and the world loves, and they buy it. And that's what they did with, even on a disco-ish album. They sold the shit out of it.
I don't want to lose like my metal card, okay? But, you know, 18-year-old Stony would be like, I fucking hate this shit, you know? But present age 50-plus Stony is saying, kind of a cool song. I don't mind it that much if it comes on.
Yeah. And you also probably understand as an artist the sort of the growth that you have to go through, the evolution you have to go through as an artist. You can't stay stagnant and do the same thing over and over. And, you know, some bands have to try something different. And they've done that a lot with their career.
They have, just like a band, Judas Priest did the same thing, man. They kind of, they weren't afraid to try different things. And sometimes it didn't work and they fell kind of flat. And, you know, you either have that or you have a formula that bands won't shy away from, which we call sticking to your guns, right? I guess. But
sure.
sometimes that works too for bands like this, AC/DC, for example, or whatever. But I give props to Kiss for at least trying to stretch out and try different things.
Well, try different things they did, and as a band that was very, very image forward, they took some chances with their new looks. And
their timing may have been a little late for what they were trying to do. They didn't realize it, but Dynasty's probably a year late in being delivered as far as the, whatever disco craze was kind of on its way out already. And for a rock band like Kiss to then put out a disco-ishy song when disco's already fading as it is probably not a real winning combination. Although in other places it was, obviously. It was very successful outside of America, So I guess they weren't wrong, were they?
They were not. That's what I was saying. At some point, you got to give them that because, while there may be not so much love for it,
let's say, even though North American Kiss fans like Bob and I we begrudgingly give it credit. It was a major success in all areas of the globe, So that's just facts in the way it was.
How about La Mujer Maravilla?
Wow. What are you digging up, dude? Oh, man.
Look at Wonder Woman.
Dude, that's so horrible, dude. Is this from Brazil? Is this Brazilian, dude? Is this a Brazilian wax ad or something? Take it off, dude, like my shirt.
That is Linda Carter.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. What are they selling there?
They're not selling anything. That I believe that to be a Spanish what are they called? Just a different show that had a bunch of different things on it, singing and dancing and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
It was all Spanish, I think. And yes, but here's the thing.
Generalized social music program.
Yeah. Like I forget the word for it. There was Paul Lind had one. There was all these shows that you could do everything on it.
Kind of like Solid Gold or something.
Something like that. And what's funny is that I was about to reference Paul Stanley's look as that of a like a Solid Gold or a Star Search dancer. It was a very glittery look, man. And I don't know how Ace looks fucking horrible, and Peter, oh God.
Well, you were already heading in this direction a minute ago when you were just about to talk about their outfits. And I got to go on the record and saying I don't like any of them, dude. When I was a kid, I guess 12 years old and Dynasty came out, I just kind of cringed at all of their outfits, and he said, "I think this shit's over." I even had that feeling at 12 years old. This shit's about to fucking come crashing down, and I don't know why, but it was just a feeling when looking at their outfits and the cover of Dynasty, etc.
They signed off on this, man. Peter said, "You know what? I'll tell you what, fuck it. You know what? I'm going to go with the big giant shoulder pads with the big green fucking frilly thing. And Star Child over here is going to have, like I said, like a figure skater outfit. And Gene Simmons looks like someone just put a bunch of tinfoil on rocks. And I don't even know what those things are on his hands. I guess they're dead skeleton hands or some shit."
Hey, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Ace just looks like, I don't care about that Star of Jarrell or whatever that symbol thing is in the center. I didn't buy it then. I'm not buying it now, man. That was horrible.
Did you say those green Philly kind of things?
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. All he needs is a fucking sandwich in his hand, huh?
It's horrible, man.
Gene Simmons' outfit looks like a Godzilla reject.
Yeah.
I hated it, and I still hate it. It's so bulky.
Very tinfoil. It looks like somebody was like, "Oh shit, Gene forgot his outfit. We have to make one up for him. What do you have? Plaster of Paris and tinfoil." And then they made it. And
like you said, Paul's pink thing is pretty much horrendous as well.
For the love of God, they kept it for a while too.
Yeah,
they kept it for a long while.
You know, the Destroyer tour was not very successful, man, and they bit off a lot more than they could chew, production-wise, and it was kind of a disaster for them, man.
So before we push forward on it, is there a favorite track you have off of Dynasty?
Let's see.
I'm going to take Hard Times, and I'm sticking with it. 2000 Man is to me probably the second one on there that I like, and everything else I didn't love.
Yeah, I'm going to have.
But I don't hate.
Agree. I like Hard Times, 2000 Man, and I like Sure Know Something just because it's a well-written song.
What's my charisma?
Oh yeah. Yeah. What is my? That's great, dude.
Holy shit, man.
What's the other song on that? Let me cheat one more time here.
It's not cheating if you are using your eyes.
Going blind.
Someone's reading it to you.
I sure know something. Save Your Love is an Ace Frehley song, dude. Also.
Okay.
And it's
so he got 3.
Pretty unique, man. Yeah, he got 3 on this fucking thing, and like you said, that can be traced back directly to the Ace Frehley solo album. And
100%, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way they're like, and they've always been these shrewd businessmen. They weren't angry at the success of Beth. They were just probably like, shit, we worked so hard. How come we didn't come up with that? Even though it was dug up. Yeah. But again, I think it's just sort of like they got a little lucky. We all knew Ace, and now we all know Ace was the best musician there in that game and that whole gang right there. But if they all could have put egos aside, it would have been so much bigger. But they were already so big, which is why their egos got so big.
I don't think Ace was probably not the best songwriter in the band, because Gene and Paul worked really hard. Like Gene said, whether it works or not, it's just working, and they worked extraordinarily hard writing songs. But by and large, Ace Frehley had a bigger grip on what real rock and roll was, a much better tactician. Than the other guys. He was, a really good guitarist. Like you said, probably the best musician in the band, raw musician in the band by far. He may not have applied himself as much as those other two when it came to songwriting and composition, but yeah, you're right. Ace Frehley is what made them a legitimate rock and roll band, in my opinion, as far as his guitar playing.
Yeah, we love Ace, man, and he's one of the reasons why they've probably gone out on their own and done solo tours. I know Paul's definitely done it, but Ace is the one that I've seen. I've seen Ace solo twice because he's I don't know, man. I guess maybe that the underdog thing works for him, but
sure.
But as far as Dynasty goes, it wasn't one of my favorites. Only going back and listening to it is it something that I can go back and say, well, it's definitely part of the catalog. It's definitely part of the history. Give it its due. Let's figure out. Let's see what it is and move on. Which is what they did.
I'll do you one better. I mean, as far as not one better, but you're 100% correct. I literally remember in '79 looking at Dynasty in the record. What do you call it? What do you call it? The little record, where everybody, they put all the new albums. What do you call it?
With the record bins?
Yeah, the bins. Thank you. And looking at it, cool, the new Kiss record, right? And I'm a Kiss freak. And then I completely remember putting it down and going, I think I'll buy that new Van Halen, the first Van Halen album, which was pretty fucking new at that point also. Not even sure if Van Halen 2 was out yet, but I clearly remember putting Dynasty back down on the bin and reaching for the first Van Halen album and taking that home instead.
To know that when we knew that, it just kind of shows you that if you had to be sort of a historian at that time, unless you were a new Kiss fan. If you were a new Kiss fan, you bought that album, but if you were an old Kiss fan, you probably didn't.
Do you recall feeling the same as I did at that time too? I almost felt this is ridiculous, dude. I almost felt guilty about putting that Kiss record back on the bin and going and buying the first Van Halen album because I was so fucking devoted to that brand and band Kiss. Couple of years leading up to that, almost as if they could see me,
Yeah, like you know better. Look, what have we done for you over the last years?
Yeah, and it wasn't obviously it was a imaginary thing, but I almost had a tinge of guilt putting it down and buying a Van Halen record instead and walking out. Didn't last long, believe me.
I tell you what it is, and I think we've spoken about this a lot. There's only two words to describe that: brand loyalty.
That's what I'm getting at, exactly, dude. And it was.
They could do no wrong, even when they did wrong.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. So
we defended them through some pretty horrific shit.
Right. So we were trying to defend them in the end to ourselves. That was probably tougher to do than defending them to other people.
Well, what's funny is I often talk about this when I talk to my friends that, why do you like Kiss and, blah, 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 blah. This is the point in time in my life going through this evolution because it's some of the freshest music. It's the closest music to my age as I got older and started listening to music. It's the hardest part of the Kiss experience for me to explain to my friends to defend. So the same people who had to defend them in 73, 74, 75, they had a different kind of defense they needed to defend, which was just sort of these crazy guys with grease paint. Well, by the time I had been fans of this, they were already part of the American psyche at this point. They were just trying to explain something different. And I don't think they could ever, at that point, they couldn't do it. They were doing the wrong things, but I was still having to defend them.
Let's put it this way. At the time, some Kiss fans were still trying to defend Kiss. Kiss had nowhere to go but down.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, dude. They couldn't get really much bigger than they already were. And you multiply that with the fissures and cracks in the band itself. Of course they were going to go down. They had to go down because they were so big. It's kind of like the Titanic had to sink. That kind of thing, which is, a natural thing, progression for everything, I guess.
I suppose I didn't feel like a crash. I don't know. I think I was too young to feel like a crash and burn was in their future, but I think that at some point in time, you have to realize that in the business that's really how it goes. I mean, I think since it was a business for everyone else other than us, we were just like, why aren't these things happening that we want to happen? Like our evolution in life was not in line with Kiss's evolution in their band. Right. And so that's where the frustration lay, I think, for a lot of us that had been fans since we were young, however young, whatever year that was, since we were young.
And regardless of what was happening with Kiss itself, inevitably, I'm being led in all different kinds of directions by, who's this band Judas Priest over here, and Boston and Ted Nugent and Foreigner and all these other fucking bands, Cheap Trick, Alice Cooper. I'm getting real interested in a lot of bands real fast. And I'm looking at Kiss and this Dynasty in the store going, I could still only walk out of here with one record today, what's it going to be? I wasn't so excited by what I even saw in the Kiss Dynasty cover at the time, let alone hearing it.
I equate this time in their career to like an aging uncle whose jokes are not funny anymore. Like when he pulls out the guitar and plays fucking Don McLean's American Pie in its entirety. It's no longer a cool thing. That's what I kind of equated this whole section of
you
time
just want to hear Firehouse, right?
Right.
Not on the plane.
For fuck's sake.
That's funny, man.
I jumped over the next two albums that we're going to talk about. Let's get into the next studio album after Dynasty. Oh, yeah.
Wow. That sounded like Torpedo Girl a little bit.
Don't say that out loud.
I said that sounded like Girl a little bit.
Gene's like, get him. Yeah.
Right.
So I went through that entire song or that entire album in a couple different ways. And the absolute only song that I've ever loved on that album is Torpedo Girl. I love Torpedo Girl. I'm not even joking. The bass line is absolutely sick. It's such a fucking fun song. I swear to God, even from when I was a young kid, I pictured Ace Frehley on top of a submarine playing this song with girls swimming around him like, Curly. You know, like I just have this pic, and it was such a fun song amidst all this weird shit, and me hoping that this comic cover was actually going to reveal their faces at some point in life, which, you know, as we all go back, we realize that's not the case. I'll bring it up here right now, but yeah, I don't know what they were doing with it. It's just it's such a bizarre album, and the fact that I absolutely adore Torpedo Girl is sort of indicative of how fucked up of an album this is. It's almost like I was like, oh, it's a Kiss album, I gotta like something, and I take Torpedo Girl. There's just nothing else on this album, and God forbid I say something bad about fucking Shandy, but I'm not Australian. I don't need to love that song. I don't love that song. And the only thing I like on this is Torpedo Girl.
Well, I've been in recent times. I've had associates, friends, if you want, whatever, talk about there's actually some good songs on this record, and you have to go back and revisit it to find out. However, I have not done that. I will publicly state here and now that I know next to nothing about Unmasked. I never bought it, and I'm not sure if I still have. I don't think I even have a copy of it in my house, and I could always go back and listen to it on YouTube, I suppose, but you have to school me on this record because I completely avoided it at the time like the plague, and by this time I thought I was 100% done with Kiss and had moved on to Judas Priest and other bands, a little heavier than that.
That's the problem, man. So the evolution of the sound for Kiss was much, I don't want to say worse. It was just on a different arc than the evolution of a Judas Priest, even Iron Maiden, obviously. Some of these bands that just became these transformative, because as we got older, we wanted heavier, we wanted more, you know. Right. And so we started off as Kiss. We not only now we're accepting bands that don't look anything like Kiss, but just sound heavy in some fucking way. So as we started getting older, we were demanding more from Kiss, that something that they could not do.
Right, and let's face it, you're correct. That's 1980, right?
Yes.
You had. I'm not going to lie here and sit here and say I was into every single new release.
You ain't got to lie, Craig.
I'm 13 at this point, but that's the year I saw Judas Priest, my first concert, in McAllen, Texas, with Axe opening, I believe.
Holy shit!
Yeah. And then the very next summer, again, 14, I see Judas Priest and Iron Maiden on the Killers tour. So, Unmasked, you know. Sorry, I didn't get on that fucking train, dude. You know, and I never did. So, I'm not the guy to sit here and pontificate about or on Unmasked.
So when we're, you know, because we won't get to stay too long on this album because it's messed up, but we know now.
I'm not sure it's messed up as we need people to believe here.
All right, so
I missed the boat on it. Let's put it that way.
This whole fucking thing on the front cover, considering even though he's only in, he's in 2 frames. 3 frames, my bad. He's actually in the majority of these fucking frames. Peter Criss had absolutely nothing to do with this record. It was Anton Fig on everything. And I remember because I do love Torpedo Girl so much because of its funky offbeat, it's syncopat, it's just very weird. It's very odd. But then I think to myself, well, where the hell has Peter Criss been this whole time? How could he do this? And on a fucking 1980 Kiss album, but he could not put anything syncopated in anything else beforehand. And so that's why I was confused about that.
How could he do this? He couldn't.
he could not do this, as a matter of fact, man. Yeah.
Another drummer in, right?
Well, and that's exactly what they wind up doing a little bit more with a little bit more permanency down the road. But let's take a look and listen to this. Let me tell you, man, it just specifically this live show and really everything Eric Carr did with them sounds so fucking good because they finally figured out an intelligent way to mic these drums. And since he had this gigantic thunderous set, he obviously had to mic them correctly. But the hi-hat work that Eric Carr did, the opening, just stuff that he was doing that was way more than basic stuff. That was just basic for him because he was the next generation of drummers who came up listening to the shit that Peter Criss did.
Were they still wearing those Dynasty costumes right there?
Yes. Matter of fact, here we go. I was going to say that. So while there is no,
that's not.
My bad. My apologies. We're jumping too far ahead here.
Yes, they were. Is that Eric Carr back there?
That is Eric Carr back there.
Wow. So they maintained the same outfits almost for through Unmasked because they didn't have Eric Carr till the Music from the Elder.
Right. So they went through the Unmasked tour and the Dynasty tour with those same outfits. And
kept them until they had Carr and they were starting to record Music from the Elder.
World Tour 1980, 1981 right there.
Okay, that must be 81 then or so, yeah.
But look at that badass guitar Paul's playing. I don't know what the sound of that thing is, but dude, that's awesome.
Star guitar.
That Star is rad, man.
Wow. Okay, so again, I'm moving on from at least myself from we go from Unmasked to Music from the Elder, right?
As a matter of fact, we do. And that one was something that became sort of more of I believe, a fine wine for me. So let's take a look at the intro for that.
I'm not skipping anything, right?
We are not. We're not skipping anything. Intern, fire it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, KISS decided to put out a concept album called Music from the Elder. Now, at the time, I don't think a concept album was anything that we probably expected KISS to do. But more than that, I did not like Gene Simmons with short hair and Paul with a fucking a weird haircut wearing that purple thing. That seemed to be his deal for this tour. They were on their way out in terms of Ace. Obviously, Peter's gone, long gone.
They're desperately on the Ace at this point, too, pretty much.
There's an Elder shot. That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. When I said KISS had lost me completely, I did jump off the KISS train completely for Unmasked. However, they came. I was pulled and screaming back onto the KISS train for Music from the Elder, and I'll admit it. I really, really like this record, man.
I do too, and I didn't like it until like 1992.
Nice, dude. Why is that? What?
I think whatever I was holding on to, that came on, because we're talking. The next album was really what I want to get into, but we're going to stay on the Elder for as long as we can. I didn't. It was a lost album for me because it didn't have hits on it. It didn't have anything I heard played on the radio. It wasn't a Kiss album. And again, by the time this album came out, and I was old enough to be liking this album, or should have been liking this album, I was a teenager in the mid to late 80s. This is 1980, 81 right now. I'm 7 years old. I'm not in love with the concept album music from the Elder. It was just something I think I had to be a more mature person to go back and listen to appreciate.
Yeah, it had to be really confusing to you at that age. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, what is this? 81?
80, 81.
Okay. Well, at this time, I'm completely gobsmacked with Judas Priest, or complete Priest freak.
Right.
Iron Maiden. I'm heavily into Maiden at the time. Sabbath, of course. So, like I said, I'm pulled screaming back onto the Kiss train, except for the fact that I'm like, oh, if it wasn't a great record, it's definitely an interesting record, music from the Elder. And they were doing some things they had never really done before.
Let me tell you, man, I listened to it again today, and it had been a very long time since I listened to it as a concept album. Yeah. Because I think a lot of stuff that happens now in media, the listening of an entire album gets lost. Well, we don't do that anymore.
Probably what you really meant, listening to a whole record, because the concept, doesn't really hold together that well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I know what you meant. Sitting down to listen to an entire LP without doing hardly anything else is unusual in this day and age.
Yeah. I don't know. We've got is there something missing from there? So the songs are Just a Boy, Odyssey, Only You, Under the Rose, Dark Light, A World Without Heroes, The Oath, Mr. Blackwell, and I remember a song called The Escape.
Yeah.
Or
Escape from the Island, you mean?
Escape from the Island. Yeah, there we go. Where the hell is that on this cover? I don't know. That is odd. I'm going to have to.
Here's the interesting thing. This was the original track running order that Kiss wanted. If you notice, The Oath is down farther, like a side two, what you just read.
Right.
Well, the record label told Kiss, no, we're not gonna release this record the way you've formatted it, track listing wise, because to Kiss, they wanted it that way because that's the way the story worked and unfolded.
Right.
Put the kibosh on it, and they said no. We need a hard rocker, high energy song to be the first song on the record. So they switched it all around and made Kiss basically agree to put The Oath first. And I don't know why the story behind Escape from the Island, why it's not included there and added after the fact, but I do know why the Oath is not first, where the actual release, The Oath opens up the record, which is I guess it was a good idea because it is a rockin' tune. Kicks off good. The rest, I can't speak on,
You can't speak on it, huh? All right, let's see if I can pull up. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, because
the label was appalled at the time with what they handed in, though.
They were. It was, I believe that's one of those things that they had in common with Rush, where it's just like they're like, you know what, we're going to stick to what we do, and I guess if we suck now, all of a sudden, who gives a shit? But
you're right and wrong at the same time, because yes, Rush went through all that, except let's face it, by 81, the label was not appalled by Rush, but
yes, yeah. You're right.
Appalled by what Kiss was handing in.
I love the concept of on Escape from the Island. It's just instrumental.
Yeah.
And so here's what and as I was listening to it today, I'm like, this is fucking really cool. Because here, in order for you to understand and appreciate this record, you have to understand the evolution of Kiss up to this point to be making this record, which absolutely makes no fucking sense to be made. But looking at it as an adult, it absolutely makes sense, because why the fuck not? Why not do something different? They're asking for something that they can't obviously or haven't produced over the last couple of albums. So this is what we're going to give you, an actual fucking story with a backbone. And when I was listening to that part, I was like, they actually went in there and did almost a 3-minute long song that was just an instrumental that was like running bass and running guitar. You know, like you can feel someone escaping from something and the story coming to a head.
Also, what makes it interesting is I believe Eric Carr had a huge hand in the writing of this song with Gene, dude, which is amazing. You know, he was brand new. I'm surprised they would let him get within 6 feet of the songwriting, realm of things. But I understand that he had he had a lot to do with that Escape from the Island.
Well, my favorite songs in this order are Dark Light, which you turned me on to a little bit later on. I think I had to go. You were the ones that actually sat me down and said, you need to hear this track from this album. And Dark Light is my favorite because of that.
Did I make you listen to the record or just Dark Light?
Just that song. There was just one. And I think we were making fun of Ace. Right. But it was like, and after that is A World Without Heroes, then The Oath, and then Only You. Only You's another good song on there too. But there's, again, those are all out of order, but to me, there's an aggression, and I think you have to hear this album in the way it was intended for you to hear it, to fully appreciate how this album was. It's not the greatest album, but it's an evolution of Kiss, man. And Gene is singing very, just emphatically on this record, on this whole album. He's singing from the heart. You can tell he means what he's singing about, because it's definitely something conceptually he wanted to be an enormous thing.
It's probably a Gene album. I mean, I think that Music from the Elder. This is just my look at things, my opinion, but I don't really see it as a Kiss record so much.
Right.
Part of their evolution as I do. To me, it's almost like a standalone record. They're trying to prove something one way or another. Whether they did accomplish that probably fell flat, especially where the critics and fans are concerned. But
yeah.
I think if you just gave somebody the Elder that's never heard Kiss before, they might say, yeah, pretty good fucking record.
It's not like a hit record that's going to sizzle and make a record company go, ooh, we got to sign these guys.
Exactly, man. But it might be the kind of thing where you give somebody that's, like I said, again, never heard Kiss, and they, hey, there's some cool stuff on it. You know, I think that, like you were saying, Dark Light, Only You, Under the Rose is incredibly heavy. I love that moments in that song. The Oath, Mr. Blackwell, Escape from
Act Well.
Escape from the. I just listed off 7 songs?
Yeah, you're right, and that's
that are pretty damn strong, dude. Even I have a soft spot for the Odyssey in a way, and.
Well, I think the thing is, if you like 1 or 2 songs on this album, then you like the whole album, because you had to have bought in, even if it's a groove thing or just like I like this riff. You eventually you have to buy into the rest of the album because it's a story, right? And I don't know that people that were expecting another Rock and Roll All Night or whatever the case may be from Kiss. This is just not the bombastic Kiss, because up until this point we were always hit with Kiss, 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 and all of a sudden that's not happening anymore. Now there's this, he's crying on a stool.
Yeah. All of a sudden they're a little bit more cerebral, or at least trying to be.
Yeah.
The one song that sounds like a Kiss song is I, right?
Right.
And that sounds like it could be on any other Kiss record. It's got that Gene, kind of groove to it, and Kiss attitude to it, but everything else on this record is pretty unusual and pretty cool, I think, man. It's kind of a one-off. The Elder is the Elder, and there's no other Kiss album like it. whether you like it or not. I tend to think people that claim to hate it probably haven't spent a lot of time with it. Although I'm just assuming that because I spent a lot of time liking it, listening to it, and I spent a lot of time liking it. And I really verge on love that record, dude.
I put it in a record. If I was to put it in a record bin, there's your country, your pop, your metal, your rock, or something like that. There's always other bins, like a specialty or a discount bin where the record is cut on the edge or something like that. This would be put into the bin that I'm not ready to listen to and appreciate right now when it was released. There's a lot of albums that a lot of bands put out that I went back later and was like, shit, that's actually pretty good. And I shit all over it when it first came out, my ears weren't ready for that, whatever the case may be. And I am definitely guilty of not appreciating certain albums and bands.
I totally understand that. I was there right on the get-go as soon as it came out, but that wasn't like planned. I wasn't like, oh, I'm so hip, I'm going to fucking jump on the older,
Well, I think for a while you had gone through maybe not liking them, and they came back with something halfway decent, and you're like, okay, here they are again, dude.
That's exactly what happened. I went from being pretty much horrified by Unmasked and the cover of Unmasked to, what's Kiss? What's this? And it turned out good to me. I think, it didn't, it wasn't pulling me back in,
right?
Sinker. I was way into other stuff and on my way on, from Kiss. But I thought it was a good showing, and I think it still stands up.
Yeah, that was again. I think I'm just as guilty of not appreciating something until much later, and this is definitely a part of it. I'm trying to queue up a little something here that is interesting.
One more tidbit of information here. Useless information.
Bring it.
First Kiss album ever to not have Kiss on the cover at all.
Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
That's how you know it was conceptual.
Yeah. Here's how they want you to forget we're Kiss and just listen to it, basically.
They just put a huge knocker on the front.
With a hand reaching for it. Is that Fridays, dude?
Yes.
It's probably the only tour stop that happened on this album, dude. Nice.
Gene looks great, man. Gene looks fucking great at this point, dude.
Gene's still using that's the same bass from the Love Gun tour, Live 2 and all that, dude.
It's a stripped down look, I think, for them on this tour. They probably were doing much smaller places. They weren't killing it in arenas anymore, but they were probably still doing pretty decent. I think this is sort of like a departure. Like we're not disco anymore. This is what we're doing now. This is pretty kick-ass.
Maybe someone out there and eventually can correct me if I'm wrong. There was no tour for just Elder.
No, I don't think there. I think
that Friday's appearance is the live portion tour of Music from the Elder.
You know what's funny is I think you may be right, because before all of this was going on, when I do my pre-production stuff and I'm talking to the goddamn intern, I was starting to notice that there was a massive lack of Music from the Elder tour video, and that's all I found, which was Fridays, which I'm probably now going to be slapped with a copyright for that. My apologies to everyone involved in Fridays. But yeah, I think that's why you're right. They didn't have a tour for that. And again, why would you?
Right. Well, I think there may have been some European TV appearances.
Yeah, but they were doing World Without Heroes, or The Oath, and that's fucking it.
There may have been some European TV stuff, but with or without Ace Frehley, dude, too. There is a video from Europe, a European press kind of music TV video from, I don't know, Germany or Holland or somewhere, but it's just the three of them without Frehley, dude. And they're going through the motions like they're playing live. And, it's kind of off-putting if you've ever seen it, but Frehley's nowhere to be seen,
I think I know the footage that you're talking about. I can't find it right now, and I usually am pretty good at picking it up. But yes, I do remember seeing it as a 3-piece, and I don't remember seeing it back then. It was probably something that was dug up much later in my life, so I'd already gone to accept what I have accepted as a Kiss fan by this point. But I think had I seen it as it was happening, it would have been like, fuck. You know, is he alive?
Right.
Is he even a band anymore? Like,
exactly.
And it's a big connection with the next album we are going to talk about, and the final album we are going to talk about in this 3-part series. And you know, again, we're talking about they're going through these peaks and valleys, man. But this album right here, with the help of one person in particular, was a massive success, and it cranked out some heavy Kiss songs. So let's see what it is. That's right. I got around that.
When you said one person, were you referring to Vinnie Vincent?
I was referring to Vincent Cusano. Yes, I was.
I was wondering if it was Michael Jackson you were talking about.
Michael James Jackson?
Yes, Michael James Jackson.
I don't know. It was not.
I figured it was Vinnie Vincent. Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, he's on the back of that right there. Produced by Michael James Jackson, by Paul Stanley and Gene, and as always, mastered by George Marino, Sterling Sound. So they're
Frank Marino.
Frank Marino, one of those freaking Marino guys.
I didn't know Frank Marino was fucking mastering everything though.
But this album, okay, so we're talking about 82, right? 82 for this album.
Yeah.
This is when I'm old enough to hear a current Kiss album, because I remember buying this album when it was released, but I'm still very freaking young. All right. So, but still big enough, young enough, and old enough to be a fan and go out and want to purchase this album because it's new Kiss. Because I'm all of a sudden seeing these kids that only lived in my brother's record collection. Now they're on TV a lot more for some reason. I had seen them a few times, so now I feel more access to Kiss at this point. So I buy this album, and obviously I buy this album saying to myself, holy shit, this cover is badass. The I Love It Loud video it hooked me from the beginning, the white eye thing. And again, I'm pretty sure Ace Frehley is part of all this. His guitar solos on this album are fucking beast. He sounds like he is all of a sudden just some sort of heavy metal master and has grown into something different.
This is what you're thinking.
This is what I think is it, because I'm looking at the album cover. Ace is and Paul Frehley is involved in this, obviously. Well, he is not.
Better is what you're asking yourself. Right?
So
look, really sweet picking now.
as we go through this album, and we can, we'll start off with Creatures, Saint and Sinner, but we're talking, if we're going to talk about my 5 favorite songs on this album, the number 1 is Killer. Killer is an amazing hard ass song.
Yep.
After that, War Machine.
As is War Machine. Yeah.
Right. Saint and Sinner, Creatures of the Night, and I Love It Loud just because I have to love it. But if I'm being honest, I really feel like Saint and Sinner is probably my favorite song on that album after Killer. But it's just that intro, love is a gun, love is a blade. And it was just, he goes all out on that song and Saint and Sinner. Gene is just screaming into the microphone in this production. It's a very loud production.
It's almost like they got scared awake and they said, there's this other band, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Motorhead, and they're stealing all of our fire. Let's do something.
To play.
And damn, they did. I mean, I wouldn't go out on a limb and say it's a danger. It's a threat. It's a number of the beasts from Iron Maiden or anything like that, but or British Steel from Judas Priest. But in the world of Kiss, it's a huge leap, and it's a damn good hard rock record, man, for sure.
You know what it was? It was at the time exactly what you just said. I think they had to keep up. They had to keep up not only the image, but okay, so we are Kiss, and you're going to see this face paint all the time. They needed to do something musically that was more current and much harder. So if they were to have gone, this album, and what I'm about to say probably is agreed upon a lot of people. This album saved Kiss.
Absolutely, dude.
It saved them from having to continuously explain what the Elder was, what Unmasked was, what Dynasty was,
Why they did a disco record. Yeah.
Right. Why they did solo albums, all that shit.
It showed everyone that, you know what, we can rock with the best of them when we decide to. And that was true, man. I mean, it's a pretty fucking rocking album. And, you know, again, it's not Number of the Beast or British Steel or none of that. But it's, damn, I might have to say it's heavier than any fucking Van Halen record, right?
That's the truth. Yeah, and because it has everything to do with Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Yeah. And Gene and Paul handed in really good performances and songs. But
they kept the Kiss vein there. They kept the blood of Kiss rolling throughout all of this, while these two new kids had a little bit more of a heavy influence. It was obviously the first time I saw that axe, which blew my fucking mind. That Gene Simmons axe. It was just like, I don't know, man. And I'll tell you what, that double V right there is also a beautiful guitar and a wonderful look.
It's kind of like, for the first time, Kiss was able to realize what they saw on paper. You know, it actually transformed. It actually transited from, you know, or what do you call it? It went from on paper, what they saw on paper, they were actually able to achieve in real time.
They got real heavy on this one, man. I was a big fan from the very get-go, and I was I feel like it was sort of a resurrection if you think about how many albums they have done up to this point. You know, we've got up until this point, I'll list them off: Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Dynasty, Unmasked, and The Elder. That's a shitload of albums up until this point, and this is released right around Halloween of 1982. Which is another thing that got me. I'm a Halloween baby. I was born on Devil's Night. So,
Your birthday.
Yeah, man, to see this happen, it was like I definitely got this album for my birthday, you know. And I mean, it was a resurrection. Now, obviously, they did a full 180 on the next album and kicked us right in the nuts. But that's
correct me or remind me which one. What was that?
That is Lick It Up, when they decided, you know what everyone loved about Kiss, we're not going to do anymore.
Well, that's the last Kiss album with makeup.
Yep.
And tour. This is the tour they appeared before, like what, 250,000 people down in Rio, in Brazil.
Yes, I believe so.
And they were one of the biggest. I mean, they were one of the first bands to ever play to that many people, dude. Queen maybe around the same time, but that was the world's biggest show up to that point, almost. You know,
I'm glad you brought that up. This is 1983 in Rio de Janeiro.
Wow, look at that, man! I wonder if they're going to show the audience here.
Look at Gene, dude.
Yeah, going off, dude. It always reminds me of the I Love It Loud live video from that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's one of the last shows with makeup, yeah?
Look at that.
Yeah. That was just for Kiss. That was not a what do you call it? A festival, you know?
Right.
The
tours were normally festival sized.
Like fucking 275,000 people to go see one band, you know? And again, I think Cooper had done it. Alice Cooper and Queen had done that already, but you know, for Kiss to achieve that, that's huge, man, too.
That is monstrous, man. But you know, again, this was a big album for me. I started, it was a competition between I Love It Loud and probably like something from Twisted Sister on MTV. It was a visual callback to their makeup, and again, like I said, then they decide, fuck it, we're gonna just take our makeup off. We're done with this from there on out up until '96. And you know, that's where I fell off, and that's where really had more to do with other bands becoming more important to me.
Yeah.
But Kiss never went away. I could always go back and listen to those early albums and be okay and be a Kiss fan.
I'm with you. That's exactly where I got off the train, dude. At the last stop, so to speak, for me was that album. I liked it. I bought it, paid for it. I still like it to this day. It's a little sappy. Some people may not like it for that reason, but I still love it. But Paul Stanley is a vocal tour de force, dude. And whether you like it or not, as a song, sings his balls off on that song. And on Creatures of the Night, dude, he just fucking really wails, dude. His vocals are on, dude.
I remember hearing them play that with you in San Antonio for the actually for this tour.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember him singing because he did his own sort of one guitar version of "I Still Love You" on that tour as well, just like he did on a couple tours before. But he sounded damn good, man. Yeah, it was to the point where I think you and I were kind of sitting there going, Peter looks like he might be playing with drum triggers or something, but fucking Paul's out there killing it. As well as Gene and Ace during that, obviously during the reunion tour, but or farewell tour.
I remember when he did that by himself, and me and you were just kind of looking at each other, going, "Fuck, dude!" Paul was he brought it on that and shit, vocally especially.
Do you have a favorite song on Creatures?
Damn, dude! I really like Creatures. The title. I mean, the actual title track.
It's hard rocking right out of the gate. Like it's
and the vocals
pretty badass.
Are raw, like almost like he's at his limit. Like you said, I guess I have to agree with you on besides that, Saint and Sinner, Killer, War Machine is uber fucking heavy. And I Still Love You. I may not go and listen to that like in the car, but
right.
It's a song that I'm impressed with. He has a lot of emotion and a lot of power in his vocal delivery on that song.
Yeah, it's going to be on a mixtape that you made for a girl, along with Scorpions and some other legitimately hard rocking bands that made slow songs.
With Holiday from the Scorpions.
Holy shit, man. But yeah, again, unfortunately, I was saying the bittersweetness of this particular episode was that we are done with our Kiss conversation, man. And again, we went through what I consider to be the pinnacle of their work. To be the last episode we did was obviously the Dynasty Love Gun era. I know a lot of other people will say it, and then you'll have the diehards that are like, no, there's the two albums before that, or whatever the case may be. But I really feel like they hit their peak around that time, and they sort of just started getting experimental. And Creatures of the Night was an evolution, because they went into Animalize, Asylum, and started going and doing all this other weird shit. And
I'm with you. I can't speak for you, but I was not even on the same planet with Kiss during that period.
No, not at all, man.
After Creatures, like I said, I jumped off. I'm gonna ask you a couple of really difficult questions that I'm not sure I could answer. All right.
Yes, I'm ready for that, man.
As we are on our third and final installment, what is your favorite song? And if it's possible, if that's possible, your favorite song and or your favorite record from Kiss album through Creatures, the entire Kiss experience. Is that even possible for you to have a favorite song and album?
All right. So first off, what I'm going to do is like what every Kiss fan could do and will do.
No compilations or live albums.
Okay, there you go. So we're going to go straight up studio albums on this.
Don't feel bad. I may not have an answer for either one of them.
All right. So
you looking at album or song first?
I'll go with album. I have to say, because of the nostalgia factor of it and what it does for sort of like my mental transportation whenever I hear it, I'm going to go with Destroyer as being my for either Destroyer or Love Gun. God damn it. It's going to be one of those two albums, if I'm being honest, really. But, you know, I'm going to go with Destroyer because Destroyer as a whole, as an album, and again, since you are saying to me, I have to pick an album, so that would entail every song on it. I'm going with Destroyer because I feel like it's just such a beautiful album sonically, where I could sit down and it's brought tears to my eyes on plenty of occasions because it brings me back to a simpler time, and because of the beauty that is behind a lot of these songs, the echoes, the piano, the orchestral additions to this album that we can thank Mr. Ezrin for, I think really is what makes it my favorite, or I think the best. It doesn't necessarily have to be my favorite, but it's, I think, the best, in which case it would be my favorite. Now, picking the song,
if that's possible, you don't have to, feel that pressured. But is it possible? I guess. Again, this could change for you tomorrow. Okay. Today.
Yeah, you're right.
Today, what's the song?
God damn, man.
I know
that's tough because of it, and it has everything to do with their evolution, dude. And even as I'm going through some of their track lists right now,
not their evolution, but yours.
Right.
That's what makes it so tough.
You want to know what I'm going to say it, dude. I honestly have to say, if I had to take one Kiss song with me to a desert island, it would be "Do You Love Me?"
Nice, dude. Wow, I'm impressed because you picked Destroyer and a song from Destroyer, dude.
Yeah.
So, bravo to you, Bob.
Yeah.
For even giving us the answer. I'm going to be able to do that.
It was tough, but again, I think the nostalgia and the beauty of that album and everything that was put into it to sort of give them another rebirth and another push forward. There's just, and at the end, you can hear bells. There's just so much shit going on with that song. And it ends in such an epic, beautiful, it's like a wedding song. And that's really what I love about it. It reminds me of Kiss. It's very simple rock and roll. And Paul's always asking, "Do you love me?" as if no one did.
And you're saying, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm impressed with your answer. And you might give me a different answer tomorrow on both of those, which is understandable.
What about you?
For album, my gut instinct is to say the debut album.
Okay.
But I can't because something in the production doesn't let me.
Right.
I love that record, obviously, because of the songs on it. I probably have to go to, if I'm being perfectly honest, I would pick Hotter Than Hell just for Parasite.
I had it queued up. I fucking knew it.
However, that's not it either. I'm going with Rock and Roll Over. I'm sorry. Which I Stole Your Love is on Love Gun, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go backwards in. For song that I can only take one song with me to a desert island, I Stole Your Love is the song.
That's such a good one, dude.
However, damn, dude. Probably Hotter Than Hell, dude, for the rest. For the actual album.
For the whole album?
So I could have nothing to... Yeah, Got to Choose and Parasite and fucking... what is it? Here we are. Which one am I thinking of? Coming Home, dude.
Strange Ways?
Yeah. The only one that's kind of whatever for me is Mainline.
Yeah.
And that's still a cool song. And Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Everything else on there is I love. Again, this will change tomorrow. But Hotter Than Hell album and the song I Stole Your Love, dude. I just cannot, I can't not listen to "I Stole Your Love" on some remote desert island.
And for all intents and purposes, I do believe that Destroyer and Love Gun could sort of be all one giant big album for me, if I'm being honest. I wore the hell out of those two albums in particular. Going back again, even as I bought Creatures, I was probably like, oh, I'm going to go listen to some of their old shit again. And I probably played those two albums over and over and over again. And yeah, I just think the production wins on Destroyer for the beauty of it all, man. And
oh yeah, dude.
I
cannot. I mean, you're right. I mean, I almost wish I could pick Destroyer too. You know.
Yeah, it may have been low-hanging fruit, but there's a reason for it, too. There's a reason why some of those songs have lasted their playlists and their concert set lists and stuff like that. And you just got to hear it, man. It's
almost like saying when a band's legendary, they're legends for a reason. And that's Destroyer, too. It's true.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's a great fucking – it may be low-hanging fruit, but it's honest, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Stony, thank you so much for taking this journey with me. There is absolutely nobody else I would have loved to have had come with me on this Kiss makeup journey and break down all of the records and songs and images and concerts and stuff like that. You are by far my closest Kiss friend, and we all know how much shit we text each other over the course of the last couple of decades. It's that's just something Gene would say, like, and then we go through periods of like, fuck Gene, and then we're like, oh, I'm going to buy his new album, or I'm going to get his new book or whatever. Like, you know, we have this love-hate thing because, you know we know what the Wizard of Oz brought to us, which is seeing the people behind the curtain. And
let's be honest with the rest of the world, or the 6 people listening or whatever. 4. Me and Bob still send pictures of Kiss to each other on our phones.
Photos that we have seen thousands of times, and we know for a fact the dude on the other end has seen thousands of times, and we will still send it, and it will be like fucking awesome.
Well,
because it is fucking awesome.
We also send each other things we've never seen or not seen a lot of.
Right.
But yeah, Bob, you're right. We also send each other over and over just because it's so fucking cool, dude. You know.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Well, it's been a little over 2 hours, and if I'm being honest, we covered 4 studio albums and 4 separate studio albums that were solo albums and a double platinum album within that time. That is not bad for my producers and directors in the network. Fuck you. We did a pretty good job on that one. Yep. But for everybody else who decided to walk, stroll, hit us, whatever you needed to do, however you got to my channel on our channel on YouTube or Facebook, the Casually Serious Podcast. Thanks you so much for hanging out on this Record Stash review. Stony, thank you so much for being part of it, man. Is there anything you want to say before we get the hell out of here, man?
I want to say thanks to TCSP, man. Bob, it's been my pleasure. I'm glad you invited me on. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge Kiss fiend, as you know. You're a great friend, and let's do it again in some other form, talking about music in the near future, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we will come up with something to talk about. Not a problem. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of Stony and myself, you all take care. Going to give you a 30-second countdown to put the roaches away, whatever you have, your beers, get all the bottles up, and hide them from whoever you have to hide them from. Love you so much. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll see you in a little bit.